Welcome back, warriors. This is your refuge, a space carved out from the noise and chaos of life. This is where we come to build inner strength, where we choose discipline, clarity, and fire to fuel us. Life has a way of delivering the hardest blows quietly. It doesn't announce itself with loud crashes or dramatic events. No, it sneaks in, slipping by unnoticed at first, waiting for the right moment to hit. It doesn't break down doors to get to you. It just waits, and then, when everything else fades, that's when it strikes. The laughter dies down, the room empties, your phone stays silent for hours. And in that silence, you realize something gut-wrenching. You're not seen, you're not valued, you're just tolerated, used when convenient. It's in that silence where the weight of it all settles on your chest, heavy as concrete. And let me tell you, my friend, that is the real battlefield of life. It's not the one everyone posts about with flashy edits or fake smiles. The real battle is inside, the one you don't get applause for, the one no one cheers for. You know that feeling, you've lived it. You've been the one called at 2 a.m. when someone's world was falling apart. You're the one who showed up, who listened, who offered a hand when others stayed away. You were there when they had nothing. But somehow, when their skies cleared, you were forgotten. And when your knees buckled, no one noticed, no one stayed. You picked yourself up, dusted off the pain, and pretended you were fine. That is not weakness. That is not foolishness. That, my friend, is strength, a kind of strength most people will never understand. We glorify resilience, but we never talk about how lonely it is, how brutal it is to keep giving when your own soul is running on empty. We tell each other, stay strong, but who's there when you finally break? Who catches you when you fall? Let me tell you something real. This is where true mental toughness is born. Not in the morning routines, not in cold showers, not in the gym selfies that flood social media. No, true mental toughness is found in the silence of your apartment, when no one checks in. It's in the smile you force at work, even though you were crying behind the wheel just moments before. It's in the 100 times you swallowed your pain because you didn't want to burden anyone else. That, my friend, is the arena. That is the fire that forges something unshakable within you. And you know who else lived that fire? Marcus Aurelius. People love to quote him today, but few understand the weight he carried. Sure, he was the emperor of Rome, but he was also a grieving father, a man drowning under the pressure of responsibility, and a soul constantly battling his own demons. Marcus wrote his meditations not to impress the world, but to survive it. Every word he penned was a lifeline, a reminder to himself not to lose his grip, not to give in, and not to let the weight of the world bury him. Marcus wasn't trying to be a philosopher. He was trying to stay sane. Maybe you've never ruled an empire, but if you've ever loved someone who walked away, if you've ever held your own pieces together when everything seemed broken, or if you've ever woken up feeling like you've had to rebuild your will to life from scratch, then you've already lived Stoicism deeper than most ever will. This video is not about lofty ideals or distant wisdom from ancient times. This is about your life, your scars, your silent battles. These Stoic principles aren't just abstract ideas. They're tattoos burned into your skin. They're lessons you learned the hard way. You don't need a scroll to tell you how to endure. You've already done it. Every time you kept going. Every time you didn't let bitterness take over. Every time you loved again after betrayal, or stood back up after being knocked down, or trusted life when all it gave you was storms, you embodied Stoicism. But here's the thing, most of us never give ourselves credit for this. We bury the pain, we call it normal, and just move on. We downplay our own resilience because no one was there to witness it. But you need to understand this. What you survived would have broken someone else. You didn't just survive it, you built yourself through it. So stay with me. Don't just watch this video. Feel every word like it was written for you, because it was. We're going to dive deep into 6 raw, unfiltered Stoic principles, not from the polished lens of a textbook, but from the dirt, the fire, and the raw moments life throws at us when we least expect it. These principles are not meant to sound wise. They're meant to wake you up. They'll shake you, sting you, but most importantly, they'll heal something inside of you that's been bleeding for too long. By the end of this, you won't just understand Stoicism. You'll own it. You'll look back on your life and realize you weren't weak. You weren't broken. You were being built, layer by layer, scar by scar. So here's what I need you to do. Comment below. I was built through what I survived. Let the world know you're not ashamed of your past. You're defined by the strength it gave you. Before we dive in, like this video, share it with someone who's walking through their own personal fire, and subscribe to the channel. Don't skip a second, because the exact line that might save your mindset, that could pull you out of the pit, could be the one you almost ignored. Let's dig into this together. And this time, let's not just survive, let's transform. Now, let's dive in. Number 1, control what you can, and then let go. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered how you handle life's toughest moments? The ones that quietly slip in and challenge everything you've worked for. Let me tell you something. You were born to rise. If this resonates with you, type it in the comments. I only hold what strengthens me. Now, let's dive into something powerful. Pain, it's not here to punish you, it's here to wake you up. Pain is often seen as something to avoid or escape, but the truth is, pain is the birthplace of every version of you that learned how to stop bleeding and start fighting. It carves away your weaknesses, burns through your illusions, and forces you to face who you really are, underneath all the comfort and lies. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." These words weren't just some philosophical idea. They were forged in the real, raw pain of life. Marcus didn't write from a throne. He wrote from the trenches. He buried his children, fought wars, lost friends to betrayal and death, and ruled an empire, all while grief whispered in his ear. And yet, he still stood. Now, think about your own life. How many times did everything fall apart, only for you to rise, stronger on the other side? That heartbreak that nearly destroyed you, it taught you to stop settling for half-hearted love. That job you lost, it showed you that your worth isn't tied to a paycheck. That anxiety that crippled you, it forced you to master your mind like a weapon. In those moments, it felt like death, didn't it? Like everything was crumbling around you. But that's the trick. Pain doesn't show you a new door. It rips the old one off the hinges. Mental toughness isn't about keeping a fake smile plastered on your face. It's not about pretending to be okay when you're not. It's about standing in the fire, fists clenched, with your soul screaming, refusing to fall. Pain strips away the softness that kept you stuck. It kills the version of you that tolerated disrespect, mediocrity, and betrayal, and in its place, it plants something unbreakable, something dangerous, not to others, but to your excuses, your old patterns, and your limitations. Picture this: you are steel in the forge. Every betrayal, a hammer that hits hard. Every loss, another flame that tests your core. And every moment you wanted to give up but didn't, that's when you were being sharpened. You weren't falling apart, you were being reforged. You were becoming the kind of person who doesn't flinch in chaos, who doesn't break under pressure, and who doesn't beg for mercy. You face the storm, look it in the eye, and say, "I was born for this." And those scars you've tried to hide, let them show. Those aren't weaknesses, they're proof. Proof that you've been through the kind of fire that would have melted most people. Proof that you didn't walk through hell just to come out the same. You came out carved, hardened, and bulletproof. That's the point of the pain. It's not here to ruin you, it's here to reveal you. So stop cursing the pain. Start claiming it, wear it like armor. Stop burying your broken pieces. Start building with them, because when pain stops being your prison, it becomes your power. If you've crawled through fire and refused to quit, comment this with your chest: my pain shaped the weapon I am. Number 3, guard your inner fortress. You don't owe your peace to anyone. Let that sink in. You don't owe explanations. You don't owe access. And if someone tries to chip away at your calm, tries to make you feel guilty for pulling back, they were never rooting for your peace in the first place. They were feeding off your chaos. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." That's not just a poetic statement. It's a war strategy. It's a warning. If your thoughts are the fabric of your soul, then your mind is a battlefield. And you better guard it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Think back to those moments when you let someone close enough to influence your thoughts, twist your emotions, and shake your reality. A fake friend who wore a kind face but left your mind spinning. A partner who made love feel like walking on glass, beautiful one moment, bloody the next. Or maybe it was that situation that seemed golden from afar, but turned out to be rusted, pain wrapped in pretty lies. They didn't scream, they didn't punch. They used silence as a weapon. They used inconsistency like poison, dripping it in slowly, and you didn't even see the damage until your inner world was burning. This is why Stoicism doesn't just whisper, it roars. Guard your inner world. Protect it like a fortress under siege, because when everything else falls apart, your job, your health, your relationships, if your mind is still standing, you win. You can lose anything and still recover if you haven't lost yourself. But most people leave their minds wide open. They scroll through garbage, absorb everyone else's drama, say yes when their soul is screaming no. They let strangers on a screen shape how they feel, think, and live. They confuse being available with being valuable, and then wonder why they're exhausted, empty, and off track. It's not depression, it's invasion. It's the result of leaving your mental doors unguarded for too long. You need to become the gatekeeper of your energy, your time, and your peace. Not everyone gets in. Not everyone earns the right to sit at your table. Stop treating loyalty like self-sacrifice. You weren't put here to bleed for people who wouldn't even hand you a bandage. Start pulling back, not because you're bitter, but because you finally get it. Your peace isn't selfish, it's sacred. It's not a weakness to go quiet. It's a sign that you've outgrown the noise. Your mind is a temple, and you're the guardian. Your thoughts shape your reality, and you're the architect of it. You wouldn't let anyone walk into your life with muddy boots, would you? So why let the wrong people walk into your mind? Let them misunderstand your silence. Let them call you cold. That's not your problem, that's theirs. You're not here to explain your growth to people who are still addicted to the chaos of life. You're here to build something meaningful, a life that feels like freedom, not just survival. Let them say you've changed. Let them call you distant, cold, or detached. If guarding your peace means creating distance, embracing solitude, or remaining silent, then so be it. That's not isolation, that's transformation. When you start choosing yourself, when you start prioritizing your peace and your well-being, others may not understand, but their misunderstanding isn't your burden to carry. It's a reflection of their own inability to respect their own space, their own journey. Now, let's talk about something that's often underestimated in life: voluntary discomfort. We live in a world that has taught us to avoid discomfort at all costs. We're raised to run from pain, to chase comfort, believing that's the ultimate goal in life. But Stoicism doesn't give you a pillow to rest your head on. It hands you a blade and tells you to sharpen your soul. Not because pain is glorious, but because real growth has never been born from luxury. It's born in the fire, in the cold, on days when your body screams, and your mind begs you to stop, and yet you keep going. Marcus Aurelius didn't wait for life to break him. He chose the hard road. He stripped away the fluff of royalty and trained himself like a soldier. Not because he was a soldier by birth, but because he knew that when life hits, he couldn't afford to flinch. He had already been forged in self-inflicted storms. That's the lesson most people miss. You don't train because you're weak. You train so the world doesn't get the chance to decide when you break. You train to be someone who can handle the worst life throws at you and still stand strong. Think about it for a moment. What is it that holds you back? If your life hasn't tested your limits yet, then you haven't been challenged enough. Pain isn't here to break you. It's here to build you, to reveal who you really are beneath all the comfort and excuses. Every moment you push through the discomfort, every moment you face the struggle head-on without giving in, that's when you become stronger. That's when you become the person who can't be broken. Marcus wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it." That's a game changer. Most of our suffering isn't from life itself. It's from how we interpret what happens to us. Our perception is our cage. Stoicism hands us the key to unlock it. So, how do we start? Begin small. Wake up earlier than comfort would like. Push your body past the breaking point and see what lives on the other side of exhaustion. Try eating less than you want and see that hunger won't kill you. Take cold showers, not because it's trendy, but because you need to feel something real. A sting, a shiver, a signal that you're alive and in control. Walk into rejection, let it punch you in the face and don't flinch. The world won't hand you resilience, you have to build it. Discomfort isn't your enemy, weakness is, and comfort feeds weakness like sugar feeds disease. Comfort kills drive, it dulls your edge, it wraps chains around your ambition and calls it peace. But peace without strength is fragility, and that's not your destiny. Think of the warrior. He doesn't wait for the enemy to arrive. He trains in the quiet. He sharpens his blade when the battle isn't here yet, not because war is at the door, but because he knows it's always coming. The hard truth, if you're not battle-tested, you will break at the first hit. Life doesn't give you a warning. It crashes through the door and demands answers. You either collapse or you rise, and rising requires training. Voluntary discomfort is your armor. It's the mental steel that turns, "I can't," into, "I already did worse than this yesterday." It's skipping meals to understand self-control. It's choosing solitude to see who you really are when the noise stops. It's saying no when everyone expects a yes. It's walking the lonely road while others dance in the crowd. It's not about being extreme. It's about being ready, because when your world falls apart, and believe me, it will, comfort won't save you. But the pain you trained with, the hardship you invited, that's what carries you. And then there's facing mortality, living with urgency. You are dying, slowly, quietly, whether you like it or not. Every breath you take steals one from your future. Most people walk through life thinking there's always more time. They treat every day like a rehearsal, like they've got a backstage pass, like they can snooze on their purpose and wake up fulfilled. But the truth is, time doesn't wait. Marcus Aurelius didn't sugarcoat it. He said, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, and say, and think. That's not some distant poetic thought. That's a wake-up call, a punch to the soul. How many times have you told yourself you'll wait until the timing is perfect? Until the stars align, until everything is just right. Let me break that delusion. There is no perfect time. There is only now, and even that is slipping away while you hesitate. How many more years will you spend watching others chase the dreams you know live inside you? You say fear is stopping you, but it's not fear, it's comfort. It's that velvet prison of routine, that voice whispering, later. But later is the enemy. Later is the greatest thief of all. You think you've got time, then visit a hospital, walk through the oncology ward, look a dying man in the eye and tell him you're waiting until you're ready. He would give anything for another morning, another chance to start. Meanwhile, you've got today, and you're treating it like trash. You scroll it away, you sleep it off, you numb yourself and call it peace. This life isn't a dress rehearsal. You won't get a second act. You won't get to beg time for a redo. So make it count. Every second you hesitate, death steps in. Every time you hold back your truth, stay in a dead relationship, let your dream rot in the corner, you're letting go of the only life you have. The man who remembers death lives differently. He moves fast. He speaks boldly. He loves without honor. He creates without waiting for applause. He knows this moment is all he's got, and he squeezes the life out of it. So, if you've been sleeping on your potential, if you're mourning the person you could have been, listen closely. You can still become him, but only if you kill the delay. Only if you stop making comfort your guard and start honoring urgency like your life depends on it. Because it does. If you've ever felt time slip through your fingers and swore it would never happen again, drop your vow in the fire. I live like I'm dying because I am.